closer than bad. Dunstall finished with 8. And it's good to see him once again passing the ton. He's going to be... Yes, the great Hawk forward in action, and Don.
That was a great bit of... we only saw him touch the ball twice. He missed everyone he went for. Had he kick 100?
Well, he kicked 8 yesterday. You saw the game, but his 100th was probably a little bit anticlimactic, was it not?
No, it was a big day. I went there with high expectations, along with a lot of other, I suppose, unbiased supporters. But when you have high expectations, you usually come away disappointed. And I was very, very disappointed because Adelaide just didn't offer a yelp yesterday. And
even after Modra's impassioned plea to his team, it didn't get the right answer, you don't think?
Well, Bob, they really... You've got to say, OK, they can't travel, but I think it's a little bit more than that. I don't think they've got the ability. And they just can't come up.
It's got to be overrated. It's
only it is. That's exactly right. You've got to look a little bit. They did.
They won their last and beat the Hawks.
They did, but Hawthorn were terrific in the first quarter, and that was the match-winning break. From then on, I suppose after half-time they took their eye off the... not their eye off the ball, but their eye off the job in hand, Hawthorn, and allowed Adelaide to come back into the game. But you just mentioned there... Oh, Bernie, look, there's another one. There's 2 turnovers Wren did yesterday, which resulted in goals.
Well, he looked like he was just propping there and stopping and
he's
expecting it all to happen for him,
looking for a handball, an option running past, and they weren't there.
Was Gary Airsworthy spotting the side?
Yes, terrific early. Very hard to find a bad player.
Dermot Brereton playing very well, but both of them, for various reasons, can't play at the moment, so we'll have to do with what we've got.
Jason, there's a lot of conjecture about full forwards being protected as far as the defender hanging on. How do you see that? Is it fair? You think it's reasonable? Everything happening all right on the full forward line?
I think it's pretty much you get away with what you can. If I was a fullback, I'd be scragging and hanging on as much as I could. If you get pinged once or twice, so be it. But we get away with a few pushes and that sort of thing as well, so I think it evens out over the long run.
Actually, there was a question raised in the last quarter. I think the last goal you kicked was down to that right-hand end, and Jamison was in front of you. Did you feel as though you gave him a little nudge?
Not with the hands, but I certainly took him underneath the ball, yeah.
Now, Jason, how do you think the 100-goal target is rated? Do you think it's overrated or underrated, or... Because it certainly does achieve a certain significant presence from the media, and in the end, you're really on the end of a lot of other players' good work.
Yeah, that's right. It certainly has been built up. You know, I regard it as a good achievement, but having done it a few times, I'm really of the belief that if I play every game of the season or close to, and I don't kick 100, then I'm not doing my job, because I've got some of the best guys in the game giving me the ball week after week, and I've had that for a number of years. So it's a disappointment to me if I don't get to that target.
Who would you regard as your major supplier?
I think it's been varied this year. Ben Allen's had a lot of the ball, but we've got so many guys like Darren Jarman that can hit you from anywhere. It's just a matter of putting yourself in the right position.
Jason, for the first time you lost 3 games in a row. It was crisis time, that game yesterday. Was there something special during the week? Did Alan Joyce show that he was worried about it by special meetings or anything?
No, nothing out of the ordinary. We just trained pretty hard, focused on what we had to do. It's pretty embarrassing being part of the first team for 12 years to lose 3 in a row. We certainly didn't like that, and I think that showed in our first half on the weekend.
Do you get sick of Peter McKenna coming to training and helping the boys out all the time?
It's nice to have Pete supporting us. Everyone else is bagging us, so at least we've got an ally in Pete.
Jason, thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you, too, for bringing in your cardboard cutout. I think it's a marvellous replica. And good luck to you and the Hawks. You'll make the finals. Good luck throughout September.
Thanks very much.
Jason Dunstall joining us on Sportsworld. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll assess the goals of the week. Took on Collingwood. Time now, though, to continue on and find out who has won the goal of the week.
The goal of the week and the goal of the year are proudly sponsored by BP.
We've worked it out. Well, the first goal we look at, Brett Heady last week in very difficult conditions at Subiaco Oval. And a very good snap on the left boot.
And now we see a Greg Anderson, who is a magnificent player and a very long kick. This one looks as though it's going to be a goal. We have to take the goal umpire's answer. He said it was. I doubt.
John Robbie. This one, Brad Rowe at the MCG yesterday. Very nippy around goal, Brad Rowe. And there he is. Good evasive skills and a good snap on the left boot.
And here's Greg Williams anticipating, and there is no doubt he has a magnificent kick with either of his preferred feet.
He's been using the left boot on most occasions in recent times. Yesterday at Cardinia Park, and Robert Scott, he kicked a couple of excellent goals in this quarter. One we saw earlier on in the highlights, but that one on the left boot was terrific from about 45 metres.
And there's Stoneham almost bringing the ball down, gets up, fights for the ball, and without even looking, brings it right back over his shoulder. Something not seen very often nowadays.
And this man has got exquisite skills, hasn't he? Darren Jarman, there we see, getting around onto his left boot. It doesn't matter, left or right, the same as Greg Williams.
And Alan Thorpe from Footscray, beating his man, getting away, and driving it through with the left foot to make them an excellent goal.
As he's added a little bit on the Footscray forward line, and Jigilia Grigic flying for the mark there. It spills to the ground. Chris Grant has got good skills both in the air and on the ground. That is a terrific goal. He went to the ground, he got up again, was tackled, and still kicked the goal on his left boot. Bob?
Are you saying that should be the goal of the day?
Well, that was a contender, wasn't it? It was a close second.
A close second, because we decided that we would give it to Barry Stoneham. Can we look at Stoneham's goal again? Look, he almost brings it down. He's in amongst a pack of body there, decides that it's his ball, gets up, fights for it, and without even glancing, puts it straight back over his shoulder and through the centre, bisecting and having the
match. And after that, it looked like nip and tuck at half-time. Anyone's game. The rain came. Everyone thought that would suit Collingwood. But then Carlton, through Madden and Gleeson at the centre bounce, started to get it out of the centre. And the big difference in the two sides was the fact that Stephen Kernahan was absolutely on fire down at full forward at one end, and yet down the other end of the ground, Severio Rocca had a very quiet day. Stephen Silvani was absolutely terrific at full back with desperation, his normal scragging, and he was absolutely terrific. And he had 4 opponents for the day, Stephen Silvani.
Peter, a lot of discussion last week about the so-called fitness of Kernahan and Williams. Do you feel that Carlton could be confident going into the finals with both of these players?
Well, Greg Williams is a superstar. We all know that, and we all know he's not 100% fit, as I don't think Gavin Brown is 100% fit, as you can see on screen now. But with Kernahan there, half-fit Stephen Kernahan is a champion, and his marking yesterday, his body work on Gary Pert early in the match was just terrific, and it was...
Get the team mobile, or what happened?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, you know, at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of talk about our running brigades, small men, and all that sort of thing. But, I mean, we've had basically, you know, pretty much the same side all the way through, I think, and, you know, it's hard to say whether we're not going quite as well or other teams are improving. It's hard to say.
No revving up needed when Carlton played Collingwood. How did the Collingwood boys react to the article in the paper yesterday that Ian Collins supposedly was quoted?
Yeah, well, I don't think too many of the boys would have read, you know, taken much notice of the paper the morning before a game, so I don't think it would have had much influence on the game at all.
Brad Rowe, why can't he play further up the ground? Is it a lack of fitness? Can't he see out a spell on the ball?
Yeah, well, Rowe's basically played, you know, in the forward pocket all year, and he hasn't played a full game, I don't think, on the ball, so obviously his fitness is...
I'm not saying a full game, but he could be used on the ball, you know, as a shock trooper on occasions.
I think he could be a good on-ball player, but as you said, his fitness isn't up to it, so that's why he's playing in the forward pocket, and he's valuable down there for us.
Gavin, did Lee say much to the side after the game? Because he must have been terribly disappointed with the forward line, because really the ball was down there a heck of a lot.
Yeah, he didn't say much. I mean, everybody knows what happened, and I mean, we're still in the running. We've got next week, so I mean, it's still we've got to look to positive things in the game. Obviously, you know, it was disappointing, our forward line, and we didn't get the goals through as Carlton did. So it is a little bit disappointing. It's something we've got to work on.
Well, speaking about next week, is there any changes you can foresee happening for the Adelaide Oval Football Park?
From our side? It's hard to say. I'm not sure who we've got available, and there's not really too many out. I'm not sure how the boys went in the twos yesterday, but Tony Shaw, I'm not sure how he pulled up after the game. So basically, I think it'll be a pretty similar side that we had yesterday.
Continue on with that train of thought. What about the travel situation for Collingwood? How do you assess it? Is it any worry going there?
Going over there, I don't think it's as bad as going to play the West Coast Eagles. Not quite as far. I think it's only about 50, 55 minutes.
Or to Brisbane?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How about the 42,000 fans screaming in favour of Adelaide? Does that affect you?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't really think so, you know. I think we won over there last year pretty well, and you don't tend to notice the crowd too much if you're really concentrating and you're in front.
Actually, I'm sure you'll be concentrating this Friday night, but I reckon you will notice them maybe a bit. There'll be 46,000 there. In fact, Sunday, isn't it? Of course, Friday we're in Perth. But it's going to be...
Sunday, Andy.
I just corrected myself, thank you.
We missed it. We missed it.
A great one from Clunes. You've got news on Clunes coming up too. But Gavin, thank you seriously for joining us, and good luck next week. It's going to be a ripper game, as Bob said on Sunday. We'll take a break and stay with us for that news on Clunes.
When you pull into BP, you have our promise that we'll do
Right on the goal line.
And he features again here in the difficult conditions that prevailed over in the West last weekend. Tony Hall.
And here's a vital player taking a fantastic mark for the Crows, Ben Hunt.
Glenn Archer. This is not a bad effort by a good North Melbourne player.
The next one is from a multi-talented player in driving rain with one hand. Outstanding skills on that occasion from Paul Williams.
And I think we've come to expect this sort of thing from Gavin Wanganeen. A terrific effort there yesterday against Geelong.
There weren't too many highlights at the Western Oval yesterday, but Leon Cameron produces a pretty good mark here. Big leap from behind, outstretched hands, and takes it without the gloves.
And one of the West Coast key players, Ashley McIntosh, stands his ground and controls that pretty well with the one hand, Gerard.
Well, they weren't a fantastic bunch of marks.
Couple dropped, weren't there, really? Not controlled to the ground, but...
Well, there's been a fairly high standard set for the year. I don't think many of those will feature come Mark of the Year time.
No, but the courage of Tony Hall yesterday on last week...